This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi! Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
You have definitely heard about the crazy coffee shop in Brooklyn, Poetica, that returned the money by Dan Goldman because they said they don't like genocide juice. They clearly do not like the fact that he supports Israel. He's also Jewish, and he lost against Brad Lander, who is someone who's been bashing Israel. And so today, Bruce Blakeman, who is running for governor against Kathy Hochul, he's on the GOP side. By the way, there have been some new polls that show it is going to be a tough race for Blakeman. There was a new poll that just came out, and it essentially shows that her lead has grown a little. It is now 52%. It was 49%, 52 to 32 with Blakeman, and it was 49 to 33. I'm not quite sure her lead would be growing and why. She clearly has been coddling Zora Mandani, but we'll see where this goes, guys. But in the meantime, Bruce Blakeman is taking aim at the Democratic Socialists. Bruce Blakeman, a great guy. And here he is. This is what he had to say about Brad Lander. Of course, that is the guy who beat Dan Goldman. And Bruce Blakeman was deeply offended at Lander and some of these others, the two DSA candidates, all who talk about genocide, as we were just talking about, which is just, it's ridiculous. Here's Bruce Blakeman.
And Brad Lander, he's a disgrace. He's anti-American. He's anti-Semitic. Even though he's Jewish, this guy would be a camp guard in a concentration camp if he could. He's a disaster. He's terrible.
Isn't that like a Totenkopf? Isn't that what the guards in the concentration camp wore? Totenkopf? Tattoos, the symbols that Graham Plattner wears. So let's remember that. I'm not sure if Brad Lander would be in a concentration camp. I don't know if I go that far, but clearly this hatred towards Israel has got to stop. And it's so disgusting in this very radical wing of the Democratic Party that is now ruling the roost. And there's only a few that have the guts to speak out against it. Take a listen to Hakeem Jeffries. And he was asked, it was on CNBC. So he's asked about the socialists. And just like when he was asked about other things that were very controversial, like Graham Plattner at that time, then he starts deflecting and talks about the Knicks. I'll never forget that moment. So now this one, he's asked about these crazy socialists that have these anti-Israel, very anti-Semitic beliefs, as Bruce Blakeman so aptly describes. And guess what? Hakeem Jeffrey does the old rope-a-dope deflect once again. Listen to this.
I remember last time you were on and you said almost the same thing that you just said, and we all nod. And I know it takes time from the interview and everything, but it doesn't really answer the question that Andrew said. We all agree with what you just said, but it totally shifted from what we're talking about is whether when the Democratic Party includes someone in that tent that believes these things, I don't think any of those things are going to solve what you just talked about or an answer to any of our problems that you delineate so eloquently. They were saying, you're next. About Hakeem Jeffries, you're next, you're next, you're next. You can't think this is a positive development in New York politics, can you? And they'll just, Dems will be Dems or something like that. I don't see how you can say that. You need to reject those things. I think.
First of all, I've clearly rejected those things. That's number one. Number two, and my record speaks for itself. This is not a Dems will be Dems situation. Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America right now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, do you see he goes back to Donald Trump as opposed to condemning these radical socialists. He doesn't have the guts to condemn them. because he's worried. Exactly. They were saying, you're next, you're next. They were correct there at CNBC chanting that because that's what they were saying at that victory party. Hakeem Jeffries, you're next. The establishment, you're next. When you open the door to monsters, the monsters will eat you alive. And that's what's happening to the Democratic Party because they were so lame. They had no policies. They had no backbone. They had no moral compass. And so they let in these kooks. And now these nutty, crazy people are coming in and taking over the party. And they're scared to stop it because they're afraid to offend their voters. That's a very dangerous place to be. And it's probably going to get so much worse before it's going to get better, not just for the Democratic Party, but for America. And can you imagine if these people end up controlling the House? No borders, no TSA, open the prisons. And you think that Hakeem Jeffries is going to stand up to them? I don't in any shape or form. And he's not alone. Let's go over to the Senate. Let's go to Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, because he did the old rope-a-dope too. And he started talking about Donald Trump. It's like they got their little playbook.
Does it feel like New York is being taken over by socialism?
We are all united in stopping Trump.
Wait. Let's go back again. All right. Let's play the question. The question's about socialism. And then the answer's, we don't like Trump.
Does it feel like New York is being taken over by socialism?
We are all united in stopping Trump.
That wasn't the question. But yet, if you go to AOC's in heaven. This is a socialist dream. This is a socialist paradise. And AOC, you can bet she's probably going to run for Senate against Schumer, or she may run for president. I think she's going to run for one or the other, or maybe both at some point in her life. But I'm telling you, she is emboldened. She is brazen. She was smiling like the Cheshire Cat today, ear to ear. This was a day of glory for her and Bernie Sanders. Listen to AOC.
Voters in general are looking for a change, and they're seeing that progress is not happening in the ways that meets the challenges that they're facing. And so you're going to see, I think, people voting for new leadership. There was so much fear around that when I was elected, and none of it bore out to be true.
None of it bore out to be true. There was a lot of fear that you might be a loony, and it all bore out to be true. An unqualified loony. I mean, that's the issue, too.